Hey, welcome back and Happy New Year. On this particular trip, we arrived just before sunset and I got this shot in. How cool is that? The next morning, we started working on the few blocks that we never finished last year. There was about 4 or 5 inside, and then we started putting up the blocks on the sides of the cabin that would hold up the fascia boards. Mom, I just want to say that ladder you got me is amazing. It works so well. So all in all, totals about 62 blocks that we had to cut and put on the inside and on the outside sides. Ew, wow, that was a lot of work. But we did it and we got it done. And what a sense of accomplishment. I don't know how many times I went up and down that doggone ladder. Holy moly. So now that the blocks are all in place, I took a break while Ryan had to think about things and took a little walkabout. Over Christmas, back home, we had a lot of rain, and it looks like there was rain out there as well because it was so green. Look at, I get you a bunch of varmints are living in those holes. I didn't stick around too long to find out, but I just couldn't believe how green it is. I'm hoping that all this rain over the holidays might provide a super bloom out there. Wouldn't that be totally cool? And of course, a trip out there would be nothing without the wild dogs that come by. And then we noticed these huge prints. We don't know what animal it is, but they were huge. Yeah, anyone got a clue? Let me know. And then there's this little guy. I really wanted to fix him up and clean it up. So I did. Dug a trench, cleaned up all the deadness, gave him a good water, and hopefully he'll start growing healthy from now on. Look how cute that is. There was another clump just outside the grading area, so I decided to clean them up as well. Dig a trench and give them a good water. And hopefully that'll set them off to grow really nice moving forward. And while Ryan was doing a think about in the cabin, I was hanging up some solar lights and watching the sunset and waiting for those lights to come on. And I'll tell you, how awesome are they? Because they put off just enough glow to see to walk around, but not too bright. Just love it out there. And then we had our campfire and hung out. Oh my gosh, it's really amazing to be out there. The next morning, we got back to work. Ryan made me a jig, that's what we called it, of these 2 old rafter beams, so I could lay the fascia boards on them and give them 2 coats of paint on each side and the edges before we hang them up. I had the camera setting off. It looks dark and gloomy, but I think I bumped a button or something and it made it look a little darker. But anyway, you get the gist of it. He's up there on the roof putting on the plywood, and I'm down here giving 2 coats of paint, or I should say stain, to the fascia boards. And I can say I hate painting. I absolutely hate it, but I got it done. While filming Ryan, I decided to do some shadow dancing, because why not, right? Man, did he work his butt off putting on that plywood on the roof. I can tell you. Oh my God, just crazy. I said plywood, but it's actually 5/8 OSB, if you know what that is. That's what we use. That's what you use on a roof. So anyway, that's going in, and Ryan's cutting away and trimming them pieces so they fit perfectly with their 1/8 inch gap, expansion gap. Ryan was amazing at all this, but when he was in high school, I think, he had a roofing job or something. So he's very familiar with what had to be done, what needed to be done, and how it should be done. So yeah, awesome. So far, everything we've built or done on this cabin has been with Ryobi 18-volt battery-operated tools. And I have to say, since they're kind of play tools, they're not professional grade, they work really good. We've not once had to bring out a generator to fire up a compressor, to run an air tank, to use the air tools, which we have all these tools that run on air. And I think the neighbors appreciate that, not having a generator running and stuff like that when we're out there. But I have to say, I'm well surprised of how well they work. We haven't had any glitches yet, knock on wood. While we were working on the roof at the same time, we had our buddies, Ron and Ryan, aka Level, putting up our fence. I tell you, this was really exciting because those wild dogs kept coming around and stuff, and yeah, we need to keep them out. So yeah, we got the fence going up at the same time, and we all had a great time together out there having lunch and stuff and getting this done. It seems unreal that we're already at this point in this project. We have a total of 7.5 acres with 10 acres of BLM land on one side, and we only cleared and fenced about 1/2 acre just around the cabin. While Ryan was doing a think about on the roof and the fence was going up, I decided I'm going to start ripping off the frames where the old windows and doors were so we could board them up. But first I had to take out the aluminum frames of the actual windows that used to be there. And that was quite challenging because even as old as it is, this stuff is in there pretty tight. You'd think it'd be all rotted and easy to come off, but it was pretty tough. Once the frame was done, then I had to, there was no way to pull the nails out inside. These are like old-fashioned aluminum slat windows, you know, where you crank the handle and they overlapped each other, the pieces of glass. So I had to go inside with the Sawzall and cut the nails out in between the boards. But boy, these tools make things so much easier. I can't imagine not having them. You know, it's just like, wow. It's just like butter cutting those nails. And boom, there it goes. And we had 3 of those types of windows with the slats. The 2 on the sides and 1 in the back to take out, and the frames, so we could plywood those up at a later date. Throughout the property, we have these, I call them yucca plants, and I think they're also called the Spanish sword or something like that. But a lot of the trunks are like dead, you know, probably when it was really dry summers or something like that happened. I mean, you can barely touch it, that whole chunk just falls right off. I just want to go through the whole property and clean them up, but I don't know. Some people say just leave them be, let it stay natural, you know, but I don't know. There's one side of me, well, at least the ones inside the fenced area, those I definitely cleaned up and trenched and will water occasionally, not too often, to see if they can grow up a little bit more healthier. I have a few game cameras set up on the outside and inside of the cabin. So even when we're not here, it will, if there's motion, it'll record. And yeah, so here's the dogs that come around and just hang out. And you can see we were here at this time and they're just hanging out watching us. It's so strange. But we don't want to be friendly with them because we've heard some stories of them cornering people when they're taking out their trash and things like that. They're not aggressive. They don't bark. You know, they don't growl, but you can't get near them. We don't feed them. We don't do anything. We actually try to chase them away. But now that we got the fence up, we don't have to really worry about it too much. But as you can see, they just hang out. And I'm sure they're hanging out by the fireplace because that's where we cook and drop food. And well, we found when we weren't here, this recorded this rabbit. So we do have a rabbit around the property, which is pretty cute. What do you think, Mom? We got a rabbit. And there's a couple angles of the rabbit. And then there's also a shot of something running by here. I don't know if it's the next clip. If you look at there's the rabbit again. How cute. This is a different direction that the rabbit was caught. But if you look at the top of the screen, you'll see something kind of loping by. He's probably looking for that rabbit, huh? And again, when we're not there, the dog's coming by and checking out. This is inside the cabin looking out the front door, or what's left of the front door. And you can see they just come out and hang out, you know, so we're really happy to get that fence up. Yeah. Look at them out there just laying down, just doing their rounds. Again, when we weren't here, captured these crows. Look at them. They're all hanging around, probably near the fire pit because that's where we cook our food. But that's kind of weird, isn't it? Anyways, back to this trip. So my painting jig that Ryan made for me so I could paint the fascia boards, I decided to cut that up to use that for firewood for the night. Yeah, I mean, this old wood from the cabin makes the most incredible fires because I think it's so dry, you know, and no smoke, nothing, it burns clean. I just love it. So here's my stack of firewood for the next day or two. And yeah, we're ready to go. So the jig came in handy more than once, not for painting, but also for firewood. And again, the most amazing sunset. And now this is the moon coming up. I mean, it's so crazy, huh? The sky is so amazing out there. So Mom wants to get a better understanding what's going on the inside of the cabin and the outside. So we're going to start with the inside of the cabin. Now that the sun's gone down and the moon's coming up, we got some light that shines in. So there's the front door, and we're moving to the right. So this is what the cracks are like inside the cabin on the walls. We now have a nice solid roof above our heads, but the shiplap, I guess what you call on the outside, you can just see all the cracks where the light comes through. And hence is why I can't really use the diesel heater to heat it up and really sleep in there right now because all the hot air will just blow around. Now we're back to the front door. It wasn't so bad. I started putting blue tape over some of the cracks before the light started coming in, the obvious ones. But then, yeah, there was not enough tape at Home Depot to do that. So here's a tour of the inside with the light on that I have, a solar light. You can still see the cracks down below as well, where the light comes in. So this is the bathroom section over here, the gardening section. And at this time, we've boarded all the windows up. That's the rug where the blow-up mattress will go when we can sleep in there. And there's two of them. There's a single and a queen. And that's our workshop table. And my cool new lanterns that make it look like it's real lantern-y looking. And kind of see it here, but this is all the extra fence, the extra leftover roofing materials and the ladders and things like that. That's a window covered up there. Then we come back down to the front and there's another lantern, and that's our cooler. Got a fire extinguisher, trash can. As you can see, it's mostly boarded up now, and we have a door. So it makes it really nice. And this is the light I got for Christmas. It's actually a solar light, and it's motion censored. So when you walk in, it just comes on. It's pretty doggone cool. But I really like those lanterns from Amazon. It really gives it that old-timey effect. Alrighty. Oh, one more thing. Mom, you gave me a backup light for my little cooler that I travel with. So I took my backup and put it in this cooler. These lights are amazing, folks, and they're not very expensive. The best cooler lights ever. Isn't that an amazing sunrise image? Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Anyway, okay, now that it's daylight, you can see how we boarded up the windows, made a door with locks on it. This is the north side of the cabin with the window boarded up. This is the back side of the cabin with the window boarded up. And this is the south side of the cabin with the window boarded up. All right, here's a tour facing the front door. Now I'm gonna turn and look straight out. There is the road. And you can see way out in the distance, we have a gate that'll take us out to the road. And this is where the neighborhood really is. Here's a zoom in on my yucca plant. Looks really good. And the gate. So now I'm standing at the northwest corner of the fenced area. There's the double gate that takes us in and the driveway to the right from the road. Straight ahead, you'll see the little gate I just showed you. And as we turn around, you'll see the orientation of where the cabin is. The direction I'm looking at now is all our acreage. And as you can see, there's houses, but they're really far away. And just to the left of those telephone poles is 10 acres of BLM land. So no one can build over there, and nobody can build in front of us, and our land extends to that little white house way over there. So here I am facing the street, and my back is toward the acreage. And this is the side where we always camped to kind of block ourselves from the neighbors, as you can see. But that's the whole neighborhood, is that direction, which is south, by the way, by the road. And as we pan now, we're looking east, and nobody can build between us and all those houses you see out there because we owned all the land as well. That's I think that's called Goat Mountain, and this is Homestead Mountain. But all those houses out there, nobody can build between us and them. And even better, you'll see houses way out there. So our property ends at those electric poles, and past that is 10 acres of BLM land that no one can build on. See our scrap wood pile, Mom? That's what we've taken off from the cabin to make for our firewood. And this is our gate that takes us out to the acreage. Because we only cleared a half an acre of the 7.5 that we own. But I count the 10 acres over there at the BLM too, because nobody can build there as well. So we got really 17.5 acres. If you do the math right. And as we turn around, you can see back to the cabin, and this is what the gate looks like when it's closed. So that about wraps up January and February's visits out to the property. Isn't that view of the acreage just amazing? That mountain. Anyway, I touched up some of the fascia boards, gave another coat of paint, and like I said, that's going to do it for January and February. Thanks for watching. Love you, Mom.